Imagine a classroom that has 10 students in it, and those 10 students are spread across 4 different grade levels. There are 3rd graders in this room, there are 6th graders in this room. There is an adult in the room, but that adult is not teaching the kids. The kids are all on their iPads or their laptops, and they're each independently working through their academic material for the day. Some of them are doing math, some of them are doing English. They're all going to hit all the different subjects, but they're allowed to hit them in the order that best serves them. And the adult in the room isn't the one who's responsible for conveying the academic knowledge. She's the coach, she's the facilitator, she's the mentor. If the kids get stuck on their schoolwork, she's there to help them. But most of the time, her job is helping kids find the materials that they need. It's talking to the kids about their goals and helping them strategize their schedule. It's talking to them about the things that they want to learn about and then helping them find opportunities to go find resources to consume or get real-world experience learning about these things that interest them. She's much more coach and mentor than she is actual teacher. The room in question that all of these students are in might not be a classroom as you would imagine it at all. It might be a living room. It might be a community space inside of a church. It might be a storefront in a strip mall or at the bottom of a building on a downtown city block. This model that I am describing exists all over the country, and it's growing very rapidly. It's called a microschool, and it's become a sort of phenomenon in the alternative education world. Lots of public school teachers are leaving their jobs to start microschools because they're so fed up with the system, and lots of families are banding together to start a microschool of their own and hire a teacher because they want to have a student-centric education for their kids that just isn't possible inside of the traditional model. These schools are viable, they're relatively affordable, they deliver strong academic outcomes on average to their students, and they exist all over the country. Kids are going to microschools in all 50 states and all major cities today. They are in microschools right now as you are listening to this, and they're getting a great education. But this is just scratching the surface still of what is possible in the 21st century with the tools that we have at our fingertips. There are very large schools that are being established that will be running an AI-driven curriculum for their students, but will have the community resources of having 1,000 student body as opposed to the 10 in a micro school classroom. I'm a huge fan of the idea of companies launching micro schools or communities launching micro schools. Last year, I visited a Guidepost Montessori location in Chicago that was on the ground floor of a downtown Chicago high-rise, and many of the kids in their student body lived in the upper floors of the building, and their parents would bring them down the elevator to school every morning. And it was a very community-centric learning experience. When each kid has a personalized AI tutor that is delivering the academic materials to them at their pace, you don't have to have every kid in the classroom learning at differing paces and just sort of sucking it up. It's not necessary in the 21st century with the technology that we have online, and there is no reason for us to be accepting this as the base standard of what education ought to look like, except for the fact that it's sort of grandfathered in. We have this huge bureaucratic system that is built on the back of this model, and it's so expensive and difficult to change, and so many entrenched interests would lose their positioning if it were to change, that we just sort of keep plodding along. We're a quarter of the way through the 21st century, and we're still educating our kids in a 20th century model, one that doesn't serve them, one that's inefficient, and one that's quite frankly ineffective. The 20th century education model should be dead, and we don't have to accept the pains and the struggles and the drawbacks of that 20th century model if we don't want to.